Hi, it's February 19th, 3:54 p.m. and this is my second video. I am taking information from this website called All Web Code Design, and it's www.allwebcodes-com/support/capital S_audio_on mouseover.htm. And what I did in the previous video was we created three elements in a web page. We created a text link like this one right here, an image link like this flower one, and we created a div section like this at the bottom, this light gray rectangular area. And what happens is we have an external JavaScript that gives us the functionality of hovering over each of these elements and hearing a little clicking sound. So we went to step one and we downloaded the zip file here, which gave us all the files that we needed. And I also changed this link so that when you click on it, besides hearing that little clicking sound, when you click on it, it opens up Google in a new tab. And then the image link itself, not the text link, opens up a separate HTML web page that I created that just had a header tag in it just to show you the functionality. And then this div does not link to anything, but it still shows us how we can get the functionality of hovering over this element and hearing a sound. What I'm going to do in this video is, instead of having code that only plays the same sound no matter what you hover over, we're going to have three different sounds. I'm going to have the click sound, I'm going to have aj.mp3, which is a little snippet from my grandson, and then I'm going to have a song. So let's go on ahead and go over the hover sound.html. I did put all of my files that were scattered all over my desktop in a folder. So if we open this folder here, this hover audio.avi is the screen recorded video that I did before this one. This one is going to be hover audio2.avi. Both of those AVI videos are going to be downloaded to YouTube, and actually that's how you're going to be able to see the videos of what I do, because I put them on my YouTube account and I put them on my Facebook. Hover sound.html is the opening page. Box is a folder that holds all these things that opening page point to. So because I put all these extra folders in a folder called box, I had to change the path that points to these things by including the word box and a /. So you'll notice that in my code, everywhere you see me say box /, that's the path I had to recreate. So again, this is the hover sound.html. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. HTML, head. In the head, I've got a script. This is not actually a script. This is actually a link to my external script. Script type equals text /JavaScript. src equals box. There's that box I was telling you about that I had to change this path /sound-mouseover.js. Because originally, when I didn't have the box and all of the files were all over my desktop, it was src equals sound-mouseover. So had to make that path correct. Then I have a style here. The style was, style is styling my mouse over div, which you'll see when I open my page. Instead of it having a thin gray border, it has a thick orange border and a tan background, I believe. Okay, so for this pound div1, my style is border orange 7 pixels of solid, background color tan, text align center, width 250 pixels, and padding 8 pixels. And that's the only style that I gave this particular page. Then I have the end of my head and the beginning of my body. This link right here is how we create mouse over sound link. And what I could do is, this is the actual page I got the information from, but if I take my hover sound.html and run it in Chrome, you'll see my actual results. because their page has all this other stuff in it. I want you to see what mine actually does. Now this is what I didn't know. I didn't know when I used my audio tag, and I put controls, I didn't know how these would lay out. Now that I see how they lay out, that's really ugly. There's got to be a better way to do that. But anyway, this code right here gives me this mouse over sound link. This takes you to Google. And you can see when I hover over it and keep it there, it says click text to go to Google. So a ref equals http://www.google.com. On mouse over equals, I put a Z in front of it to misspell it, Z play clip 1, and then target equals blank, title equals click text to go to Google, and then this is the text that you can visually see. Mouse over sound link, this takes you to Google. The title says click text to go to Google. That's this part right here. And then 3 break tags give us a nice little chunk of space in between the text link and the image link. I'm going to undo the misspelling of this function called playclip1. Okay, and then I'm going to refresh the page. So now what's going to happen when I hover over that link, 2 things. The title is going to say the pop-up, click text to go to Google, and then you're also going to hear a sound file that playclip1 is attached to. Okay, so that's my AJ MP3 file. I want to misspell this again so that if I accidentally hover over that, it's not going to play it every single time. Target equals blank means that when I click on that link, I'm going to get a new tab over here that I didn't refresh it, so it played it again. When I click on this, you see Google opens up in a new tab. There's Google. There's our href link, Google, and the target blank underscore blank means we get a new tab. So that's that part. The 3 break tags give us a space, and then next we're going to talk about the flower here. From here to here is the opening link tag, aref equals box/hello.html. This means when I click the flower, a new tab is going to open up, and you're going to see that very simple hello.html page that I created that only has an h1 header tag. This on mouse over event is going to call a function called playclip2. So we're going to get a different sound out of this one. And the target equals underscore blank means we're going to get another new tab. This is how we get an image link. We just put an image tag inside a regular link tag. But basically what we're doing is instead of putting words inside of a link tag, we're going to put an image tag inside of a link tag. That's the only difference between a text link and an image link. So for our image tag, we have image src equals box/soundimage.jpg width 125, height 125, border equals 0, alt equals image, which alt again, if anything happens to the flower, you'll see the words image. Alt, I should say, because you want to be specific about what kind of images it is, alt equals flower image. So if I misspell my image source by putting a Z in front of it, and then I refresh the page, there's my alt, the words flower image, and you see this broken little icon. That's what the alt tag does for you. And again, the title tag or the title attribute gives us the tooltip. So when I hover over it, you see the word flower pop up in a little box. That's a tooltip. Okay, we save this and refresh this and have our flower come back. Now there's the end of the link tag, and we've got 3 break tags, which gives us this space. And let me click on the flower, and hello.html opens up in a new tab. If you do not put the target equals blank, if you take that off, then this hello there you is going to open right over top of this page. So it's up to you how you want that to function. Lastly, we have div. Now we're talking about this mouse sound div area, which I want a space before all of these audio players that you see. So I'm going to put 3 break tags here as well so that I get some space there. All right. Back to our div. Div ID equals div1. This ID equals div1 is how I styled that section, this style. So this element has an ID of div1, and in the style tags, this is how I made it look that way. That's called CSS. Okay, div ID equals div1. On mouse over equals z play clip 1. I'm going to change that to play clip 3. When I first did this, I only had 2 different sounds. Now I have 3. And once I go over the sound mouse over.javascript file, you'll see how those work. Let's see. I Z'd out this, the play clip. Let me take my headphones off, let you hear this clicking sound. So if you heard those 3 clicks, that was me hovering over the flower 3 times. So far you've heard the AJ MP3, then you've heard the click MP3, and the next you're going to hear is a song. If I didn't mess up any of the code, let me spell this function correctly. Play clip 3. Title, which is going to be the tooltip, are the words hover div to get a sound, and then mouse over sound div area is the text that you actually see. Oh, let me misspell the function again. Z play clip 3 misspells so that I can hover over here and you can see the tooltip. Hover div to get a sound. Title equals hover div to get a sound. That's what title does. It gives you a tooltip. Mouse over sound area. That's what you actually physically see in this little div with the tan background and orange border. Mouse over sound div area. End of the div. So let me properly spell play clip 3, and let's see if this, refresh the page, let's see what happens. Okay, it's actually playing a song, an MP3 song. And if you can see, this controller right here, which is actually moving, allows you to control that sound. Although I think it's very strange how they're all clustered down here. This is the clicking sound, and that's the AJ sound. So you can actually let these appear for the user if you want to. I think I would prefer to have some kind of functionality where I'm actually hovering or clicking each time I hover, go away, or hover again. I would like that to cause a pause instead of seeing these players, but the way I make these players go away is easy enough. But I just showed you the 3 elements, and let's go to the audio tags. Audio ID equals sound 1. That's controlling my AJ sound. Source src equals box/aj.mp3, and another source tag, which I'm really not even using right now, but if I need an OGG file, then my code is already here. If I need an OGG file, I'll open up aj.mp3 in Audacity, and I will hit export as, and I'll export it as an OGG file. Then I'll have 2 different AJ files. I'll have AJ.mp3 and AJ OGG. That's only if not Internet Explorer. That's only if Firefox does not work with just MP3s. There's the end of that first audio tag. Here's a second audio tag. Audio ID equals sound. I'm sorry. This is the first one, sound 1. Audio ID equals sound 2. It's very important that it gets its own unique sound. Controls, this is what's creating this player down here. Source src equals box forward slash click.mp3 and source src equals box forward slash click.og. This web page gave me the click mp3 and the click.og in a zip file. That's why I do actually have both click files, because that's what they provided for their presentation example. Then there's the end of that. So that's how this, you see every time I hit this flower, you see the audio player at the bottom move, because I didn't misspell the function. If I take away the Z off of the first one, every time I click this, you would hear the AJ and you would see this first one moving. But I just kept that middle one. The last audio tag, audio ID equals SND3, controls, source src equals box forward slash p.mp3 and source src equals box forward slash p.og. Again, I do not have a p.og. I do not have an aj.og, but I have the text in the code just in case this will not work in Firefox. It hasn't been tested yet. And this only needs to be in your page one time at the bottom, right before the end body tag. And it's div ID equals sound div. And then there's another tag inside of that that says BG sound ID equals sound. So that's the entire page that shows three elements, three different elements: a text link, an image link, and a div, and each of them have on mouse or on mouse over events that call a certain function. This on mouse over calls play clip 1, this on mouse over calls play clip 2, and the last element on mouse over calls play clip 3. Now let's go to the JavaScript that makes these functions happen. Well, before we go to that, let me just get rid of these players, because really they don't need to show. I need to figure out how I want them to show. And how I probably would want them to show is near the element. Instead of having this by itself at the bottom, I think I would cut it and put it up here right by the link that it is working with. Whoops. So here I've got the text link, and now I've put the audio control, the audio right underneath that. Let's see what that does. Okay, because I didn't use a break tag, it went right next to it. Actually, that's not where I wanted that one to go. I wanted it to go up here, not by the flower, but by the text link right here. And then I can take the second audio tag and cut that and have that right by my flower, underneath my flower link. Okay, so well, it's next to it. And then I can take my very last audio and cut it and put it right underneath the div. Let's see how that looks. I think that looks ugly, but if I wanted it to show for a reason, that's how I would do it. If I don't want it to show, then I take this word controls right out of the audio beginning tag. Take that controls out and take that controls out, which means you won't see them at all. They disappear. All right, so it's up to you if you want to see them or not see them. If I'm not going to see them, then I might as well do what the code originally done and just keep all the audio tags at the bottom. That way I don't have, it's clustering the code to do it this way, and if I need to make changes, that kind of doesn't, this is easier to have all the audio tags together. If I want to make changes, I don't have to let my eyeballs bleed to try to find where my set of tags are. So I'll do that. That's how we first started out. Just giving you options. So now let's go to our JavaScript and see the differences. Originally in the previous video there was only one function in this JavaScript, and the one function called the same sound no matter what you hovered over. So here's our function play clip 1. If navigator.app name, you got two equal sign here, so equals equals Microsoft Internet Explorer and navigator.app version.index of MSIE 7 does not equal -1, or navigator.app version.index of MSIE 8 does not equal -1. And then you have another if statement, if document.all, then document.all.sound.source equals aj.mp3. Else var audio equals document.getElement by ID snd1 audio.play. So this function play clip 1 is going to, if you're working with Internet Explorer, then this is how you pull out aj.mp3. Otherwise, if this is not true, then you're using a different browser, then you're going to use this little snippet, var audio equals document.getElement by ID snd1. snd1 is the ID that we created in our original web page, that down here snd1 refers to the AJ MP3, snd2 refers to the click.mp3, and snd3 will refer to the p.mp3, which is a music file. This entire function is copied and pasted as many times as you have different MP3 files. So we take this and we copy it and we paste it, and the only thing we do is we give it a new name. Instead of function play clip 1, we call this function play clip 2. Instead of down here saying aj.mp3, we have the name of the mp3, which in this case is click, and then at the bottom part we have the ID that also goes with click mp3, which is snd2. That's the ID that we gave it. And since we do have a third sound, different unique sound, we copied and pasted that whole section a third time, and we gave it a new name, play clip 3. And here we gave it the oh, this is wrong, it's not 3.mp3, it's p.mp3, and the ID we gave p.mp3 is snd3. So when I hover over this, it starts playing my p.mp3, which is given an ID of snd3. Only thing is, once it starts, I can't stop it. And I do want this is a whole song. If I don't want this whole song to play, I want the user to have the ability to start it and stop it. Each time I hover it, I want it to either start or stop. Right now it goes and goes and goes unless I hit refresh. So I have still some more functionality for the user to deal with. That's the only reason that in here I thought, well, just put the control in the audio tag and the user can control it at that point. I just didn't want to see the audio tag every time. So it gives you something to think about and how to make this work a little bit better. How did I make the flower over here for the folder? Instead of just seeing a folder like over here on the right, my audio hover folder my audio hover has a nice flower on here. Well, what I did was I went into the box and I had my sound image.jpg. Here, let me just take this ICO file and delete it because it's the ICO file that's allowing me to do this in the first place. If I can I refresh my screen? See, when I refresh my desktop, all I have is a folder. In this audio hover folder, I have hover sound.html, the opening page, box, and in the box I have these things. What I need to do is I need to right click soundimage.jpg and I need to open with Paint. Now it's open in Paint. Here's this image. I'm going to go to this drop down and hit Save As a Bitmap Picture. I'm going to save it in the same folder that I'm working with, which is Audio Hover, and it's in box. I want to put it there. Now I'm going to have soundimage.bitmap. So now when I go in that box, I'm going to have two image folders, soundimage.jpg and soundimage.bitmap. I'm going to hit resize. I'm going to hit pixels. This is already relatively small. You usually want an icon to be about 100 by 100. In this case, 100 by 150, I decided I was going to see if it would work anyhow, even though it's got a little more on the horizontal than the vertical. So I'm going to keep it at that size, but I'm going to rename it. Save. I'm going to go in this box. And right here, my soundimage.bitmap, I'm going to right click it and hit rename. And all I'm going to do is take the BMP off. So right after the dot, I'm going to change BMP to ICO. If you change a file name extension, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? Yes, I do. And you see immediately, you can see that this becomes a picture of the flower that it represents. So now I have that little flower in there that instead of it being a JPEG, it's an ICO file. So let me right click my folder, go to Properties. Let me move this out of the way. Let me go to Customize. Change Icon. I have to go browse to my desktop, to my audio hover, into the box, and soundimage.ico will show up, which I will double click, then I will hit OK, Apply, and OK. And now I don't have to look at a folder. I can look at an image of what my folder represents. So basically, I went over how to create sound to your web page and incorporate an external JavaScript file. How to make sure that you have the correct path so that when you're pointing to items, if you want to keep your desktop tidy, put something in a box, and the only thing you have on the outside, I don't need this on the, I could put this on the inside too, as a matter of fact, this hover sound. So the only thing you have is the file that opens your web pages, a box that contains them all, nice and neat, and then you've got your MP3 or OGG, your external web pages if you want any of those. This is the previous video that I did on this same subject. And then any images, external JavaScripts, if I want to make an external style sheet, which is .css style sheet, all of that would go in here, and it just makes everything tidier. So that when you open this up, you know exactly which file that you double click on to get the ball rolling. There's only one there to look at, everything else is boxed. And I did not fix the misspelling, so I can't hear that run. This is running, and that is running. So the next functionality will be, I want the user to be able to, if this is a song, I want them to be able to hover over it to start the song, but when they pull away from it, or maybe there'll be a click event, so that if they click it once, it starts the song. If they click it again, it'll pause the song. And there has to be something that gives the user more power than what this particular code does. But all this was, the only thing I really was doing with this is showing how you can add functionality with the hovering over elements by using the on mouse over event. So again, thanks to All Web Co-Design website for showing me how to do that.